as possibly bleak as this.
Alright, let's go. Ready?
Yeah, let's go. Let's fucking talk.
Alright, well, welcome back to Box, everyone. For our second episode being recorded, we had a little trouble with the last one, so we are hoping this one works out. Bear with us as we figure out all these technological issues. But so far, I think we're doing pretty well. So, hello, how are you guys doing?
Pretty good. Thank you, Apple support, for helping us.
Oh, true. Apple support.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? This, to everyone listening, this podcast that you're listening to is kind of a, it's a community effort. We've, here at Box to Box, have been very thankful for our different friends helping out. We have Jack Harris helping us out with the sound equipment.
They're called Portland Studios Nash. Portland Studios Nash.
Right, yes.
Is
LLC.
LLC.
Yes.
Is that, yeah,
Is it?
It's our first.
That's
partner.
our producer.
Oh,
our first partner. So shout out them. Also, thank you, Quinn Lonergan helping us out with a little bit of video support, and Max Russo for making us some new logos. He's our designer, graphic designer, creative director. So actually, what I think is important is that we introduce ourselves. Since
Oh yeah,
I guess we didn't do that last time.
Yeah.
Right?
So what's up, everyone? My name is Harry Hicks,
I'm Thomas McKeon.
And I'm Max Botcher.
and we are The Box.
What's our like backstory? Should we tell people?
Oh,
that
yeah,
we
we
know
should
each
tell
other.
people.
We've hung out
In
before.
Vietnam,
Really? Well, yeah, not like in the 70s, but like in the early 2000s, we met in Nam.
well, we went to grade school together.
Yeah. We've known each other since kindergarten, right?
Not Thomas.
No,
Thomas
second
was a
grade.
transfer student.
Oh,
second
you were a
grade.
transfer?
That's why we're not as
Actually.
close with him.
But you can see in the dynamic.
Well, Harry and I weren't
Today.
Harry and I weren't in the same
I'm
class
the
until
transfer
8th
kid.
grade,
Yeah.
right?
I don't think so.
We'd always be in the opposite class, and I'd be like, "Who is this guy?"
Yeah,
Who's this guy?
sure.
Who's this
Well,
weirdo?
I'm glad it worked out.
Well, I
Now-
know all you in Singapore are really interested in our backstories, but you guys want to talk about some soccer?
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, let's do
I
it.
guess.
I mean, we
Unless you
all
guys
right,
have some crazy
so
stories.
we missed out on our game of the week, match of the week last
Yeah.
week, Arsenal Tottenham.
Cancel.
Yeah, I think I have something to say about this because I feel like when they first started canceling matches, it was pretty. It was like, okay, if this team has a lot of COVID cases, they barely have enough guys to field a full team, we'll postpone the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they did that, with a bunch of different teams over the past couple of weeks. But now I feel like they need to have a rule because for example, this Tottenham Arsenal game, which was our match of the week, and I was really excited to watch, was canceled, but it wasn't like it wasn't all because of COVID. They had some COVID, they had some players in AFCON, they had some players injured. And I don't want to say this, I think it's not only Arsenal that are doing this, but I feel like at a certain point, team management is part of the game.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different competitions, there's a lot of players in different competitions, and there's national teams. So you have to be able to prevent injuries as much as possible and also work around the fact that some players have international duty. And that's part of it. I think the Premier League needs to say, okay, if you have 6 confirmed COVID cases,
It
you
has
can
to be
postpone the
COVID.
game.
It can't be
Right.
regular
There has to be
injuries
some
or
real
something.
thing, which
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you guys have any extra thoughts on that, but I feel like that's something that needs
No,
to.
they've changed their policies constantly, and
Yeah.
it's not fair. It's not fair that Tottenham is about to have got a break and now is gonna just
Tottenham has 3 games in hand.
3 games in
No,
hand. Yeah.
No, I think they have. Chelsea's played 23. Tottenham just finished their 18th or 19th game.
Yeah,
so they have
they have
4
4
games.
games in hand, and teams like Chelsea haven't had a break since in a major break, especially the players that we have for 2 years now because of the crammed schedule, and now Tottenham those players needed that break, and they're set up for the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So just that's it's a different issue. But what would cause less controversy would just be a consistent policy against on the COVID cases.
Right.
I agree
sense.
with
I don't
X
know.
amount of COVID cases. Fine, we'll reschedule.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Well.
We should be the FA. We should.
Yeah. So
We should be the
we'll make our
decision
bid.
makers.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that aside, so our previous match of the week, when that game comes around, I'm not sure when it's been rescheduled for, but we'll just put that in as our match of the week with the same predictions and probably add another game on the same week. But for this week, we're doing something a little bit different, and we're going outside of the traditional top 5 leagues, and we're going to watch Ajax versus PSV. The current standings, PSV are 1 point ahead of Ajax, so it's a pretty close game right there at the top. So we'll make some predictions per usual. Anyone want to start us off, either of you?
I'm excited to watch this. I've never watched a
I never watched
an Eredivisie game.
I watch Ajax just in the Champions League. That's it.
And they have decent teams like PSV and was it Vitesse and AZ. They're all like big name clubs that I've never actually watched. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to watch Mario Götze.
Yeah, I know. I am too. That'd be so fun to watch.
I honestly, to be really honest, I had no idea a single player on PSV and they're top of the league beating Ajax.
Yeah.
Look at their team. They have a lot of fun young players in Mario Götze.
Yeah. No, that's one of the reasons why I really have enjoyed watching the Europa League, because there are so many players that I forget about or just don't even realize are playing. So I think it's pretty cool. Speaking of, I just saw. Did you see? What's his name? Ben Arfa just got signed to Lille, I think.
He's the freaking
as a free
FIFA
agent.
god.
Yeah,
FIFA god in real life.
5-star, I think 5-star skills for sure.
But no, I feel like he's like a type of player. I was seeing the Europa League. I was like, oh my gosh, I know this guy. So
him coming up.
With that being said, let's hear your predictions, Tommy.
Oh, okay. My predictions are. I just want to talk a little bit. There's a couple guys to watch out for. Mario Götze. Mario Götze is 29. Did you realize that? I thought he was 35.
Yeah. No, he kind of fell off.
He scored that goal when he was 21 years old in the World Cup. That's insane. That's insane. But PSV has a couple other young guys. This guy Vertessen and this guy Gakpo.
Harry and I were watching Gakpo highlights before we got here.
Yeah. Both of them have 6 goals this season, and both are young talents, 21, 22-year-old wingers. And they have, Carlos Vinicius, the guy he was on Tottenham a year ago.
Yeah, he was on Ajax.
He's on PSV.
Oh, I didn't realize.
And he's another top goal scorer. Yeah. And Mario Götze, so that's a pretty strong attack. And Ajax, still quality team, but the Haller's out on international duty.
Dude, he's crazy.
He's leading their team, 12 goals. So,
from what I've heard, Ajax is such a fluid team, except for Haller, who just stands in the box and just lets everyone go crazy, and then just scores goals like crazy because everyone else is just putting in crazy crosses.
I think that's the problem. When he was on West Ham, he was supposed to be the creator and do too much, I think, and he didn't do well other than that one bicycle kick he scored with West Ham. He didn't really do much.
Right.
I think it was sold last January. So it's really exciting to see him doing so well at Ajax and scoring. I think wasn't he the tied top scorer of the group
with Leva
group stage with Leva in the Champions League.
Not bad.
Yeah, so not bad at all, and it was a huge tally too. So I think.
Someone's phone's going off.
Hey, can we be quiet about it? No, so I think it's so exciting to see him doing so well. So I'm interested to hear your score.
My score is going to be 2-2 draw.
Really?
I know, that's a little unexciting. Wrong. Okay, boys. But from what I've seen from from highlight videos from PSV, PSV seems pretty good, and Ajax doesn't have Haller, so I think they're both going to score some goals. It seems like a high-scoring league. I'm going 2-2 draw.
Absolutely the incorrect answer. I'm going 4-0 Ajax.
Holy shit. Really?
Yeah. They have only 4 goals conceded the whole season.
I had to refresh my page because it's set in 19 games, 4 goals.
That's the lowest out of all of including all the top 5 leagues and Eredivisie. That's the lowest amount of goals conceded.
That's pretty crazy.
And I think they won the last one 5-0. Haller scored 1 goal, I think. This time he's not there. They're scoring 4 goals.
Yeah. I guess he's missing now.
I think so.
Not against Mario Götze.
Yeah, but I think it'll be I think they're a dominant team. I think I have seen they have 2 or 3 losses, I think, and a couple a draw maybe, and they have been to maybe some lesser sides, but the Champions League, they showed up in the big games. They showed up 5-0 against PSV last time. I don't see, and even with Haller gone, I don't see any reason for them not to stomp PSV.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a good game. I mean, Tadic was my player that I was looking at
Dude,
for
he's so
Ajax.
fun to watch.
7 goals, 13 assists this year.
That's crazy.
And then on the other side, you have Anthony, who's playing incredible too. Yeah. So I'm taking Ajax 2-0. No Haller, but I think they should win pretty easily. They're not going to let in a goal. Yeah. I guess.
Well, I'll be rooting hard for PSV, my new favorite team.
Yeah.
PSV has some good
your
players.
jersey's in the mail.
I think Gakpo, who you mentioned, he's like 6'2".
Yeah,
he's huge, but he's a winger. Like you never see a winger that's really that tall. Because like Harry and I couldn't think of one.
Like, what's his name? Zaha. Zaha is pretty tall.
Yeah, I was thinking Zaha.
So that's only like winger. It's pretty tall.
Vinicius is pretty tall, I think, but
but he's
skinny.
He's more like slim. Yeah.
Yeah, Gakpo's pretty big. He's muscle too, but he's so
light on his feet. He can pass really well. So we will see.
Yeah. So see you boys at 7:30 a.m.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then after, we don't have to go into this too much, but that United West Ham game should be pretty exciting as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys watched that United game today. They won 3-1 against Brentford, I think, which was expected, I guess. But that's pretty. If we're thinking about the top 4 race, that's a pretty big game for those two.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I'm not going to make a prediction or anything, but I'm excited for that game as well.
Yeah, it's so important for both.
Yeah, I watch a lot of United recently just to like see what's happening under
It's
Rangnick.
interesting, yeah.
They're still trying to figure it out, and he's playing like a 4-2-2-2 sometimes. He's playing the 4-2-3-1, and he's just trying to figure it out. And it's pretty interesting to see who's succeeding under him and who's not.
Yeah, I think a shoe-in for a little different comment here would be their last game when they played Aston Villa, and it tied 2-2 with Coutinho with an assist and a goal coming out of the sub.
Yeah.
That was pretty sick to see him.
Debut.
Yeah. So, and you have him playing with Gerrard, who's his coach now. And then did you see the rumors that Luis Suarez is thinking of joining Villa in January? He had like some falling out with Simeone and is now like wants to go to Villa to play with Coutinho and Gerrard.
What
That's
is
awesome.
the falling out?
That'd be unbelievable. But I don't know.
Has he not been playing well?
I don't know. I don't. That's all I heard.
Wasn't Suarez like the top scorer last year? Like the first year he left Barcelona, he was like the top scorer in La Liga.
Probably.
And then they won the league.
But that'd be huge, and I think they could get him for like 10 mil.
I'm gonna bring up the stats. He has 7 goals this year with Atletico.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Yeah. No, but I mean that'd be pretty sick.
Yeah. United have their own problems, I guess. I know Rangnick today said like Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, and I think
Luke
Fred
Shaw.
or Luke Shaw. Yeah, they're just not good enough for the team. That's what he said. He said
Wan-Bissaka. I follow Man United as well.
and Ronaldo said too. He was like, if we're not in the Champions League, I'm leaving."
Okay, I feel like that's just he can't say that.
I know he can't say
like,
that.
that's just like the
He's
most
just
like
going around and
selfish.
Yeah,
I know.
I mean, obviously, whatever. He's Cristiano Ronaldo, but like,
Yeah.
you're part of this team. Like, if you're maybe, like, you can do something about this.
You can contribute to this. Yeah.
It's not entirely everyone else's fault if you're not in the Champions League.
Yeah. I agree.
That's kind of dumb statement, I think.
Well, do we want to switch over to our debate for today?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like one thing we've been talking about is the fact that Man City are so good, and some other leagues are a little bit more one-sided, like Bundesliga with Bayern Munich or League One with PSG over the past couple of years. Obviously, Lille got them last year, but the question we'll be answering is: Is the Premier League becoming a one-team league?
Might be I came up with this question as more of a gut reaction to that Chelsea-Man United game or Man City game.
Yeah,
because Man City dominated us, and that's the second game in a row that we just got dominated by City, and it's been 5 years now where Liverpool won the league in 2019-2020 season.
City won it twice, then Liverpool, then City, and now
Chelsea won it 2016.
Yeah. So basically, how this season is going, City's going to win 4 of the last 5 Premier League titles, which is if that continues on the level of the sort of dominance Bayern, PSG, and Juve have had in the last 10 years. So, is that trend going to continue?
I think, okay, I mean, when you first posed this question, my thought was that yes, City will continue to win. They'll continue to be the best team for the time, for whatever, as long as they keep up this form.
Right.
But I don't think, like, I looked at it and Manchester United won the league 13 times between 1993 and 2013, which is a 20-year period, and they won 13 times.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
They obviously had Alex Ferguson at the wheel, but like that's a one-team league or whatever you want to call it. So I don't think anything's changed. I think it's still a competitive league, and maybe at the top it's not as crazy, but I think that's just kind of how it's always going to be. I think maybe not always going to be, because obviously we want a title race, and I think that's kind of why this conversation came up, is because there was so much hype over like a 3-horse race with Chelsea, Liverpool, and City, and it doesn't look like we're going to get that this year. But I don't know if that's like a huge deal. I mean, as a fan, obviously I want to see that race, but I want to see Chelsea closer, more importantly. But
yeah.
I think there's a lot of reasons why. So I think City started their dominance when Pep left Bayern and went to City. So the first year Chelsea won, and since then City has like played incredible, and they've also spent a ton of money. So I think the biggest thing that like fans have with City, like the biggest like issue they have with them, is like they spend so much money. Like they're owned by like Abu Dhabi's like United Group, but like so are so many other Prem teams, and I feel like City spends so much money. But I honestly, when I look at their transfers, besides Grealish, which is like this is his first year, they've spent their money like so well, like actually so well.
That was my
And like I wrote these down: Ruben Diaz, Cancelo, Rodri, Mahrez, Laporte.
Wait, I have a list of their top like 10 to 12 signings of all time are Grealish, who hasn't, this is his first year. Down the list: De Bruyne, Diaz, Mahrez, Cancelo, Laporte, Sterling, Rodri, Mendy, Stones, Kyle Walker, Leroy Sané, who was sold, and Bernardo Silva.
Yeah,
That's
Pretty much
starting
every
11.
single. That's their starting lineup. Let's go down to Chelsea. Lukaku, Kai, Kepa, all like Kai out of those three has only done all right. Morata, bust.
Sold. Well, no, but he's sold for profit.
Yeah, that's true. Pulisic hasn't really come to fruition. Fernando Torres. And some of these are old. Jorginho, yeah. Timo hasn't come to fruition. Chilwell, yes. Kovacic, yes. Shevchenko's there. Ziyech, no. And Bakayoko, no. So
yeah, I mean, I think that's that's a huge difference.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times Chelsea spend more at will because they switch managers around so much. So every manager comes in and wants a different set of players, and then we run into a problem like we're looking at now, where a lot of players don't meld together. And that's the difference, because City have done all of this under Pep and bought all these different players that fit his vision. And I think that's like the main difference. And the only reason that Chelsea are still on such a high level, or still, is because, first of all, they can keep putting money into the club, but they also have such a good academy that they can keep selling these players for high.
Right.
So that's why with like financial fair play, they're still able to keep up with everything, because they're still selling a lot of players, and a lot of these players they're making profit on. They sold Hazard for like 130 million or something like that.
and we have our loan academy that's essentially financial fair play. Just moved us from just spending at will to developing a crazy youth system and a loan system where we buy youth players and sell them on profit to essentially, and then also, and a lot of financial fair play, like the according to like the Deloitte Money League, there's the top clubs in terms of revenue is Barcelona, Real Madrid, Bayern, and then the top six Premier League sides are in that like top 15. And that's why I think no, Man City won't like run away with it, because financial fair play does exist, and teams still can't just like spend, like Newcastle isn't going to be able to come in and spend $1 billion. They have to at least like create a structural system where they buy youth players and sell, and then over 10, maybe 5-10 years, like create a system where they're generating a lot of revenue, because they're bringing. It's going to take a while. They can't just like immediately dope and financially dope. And like Newcastle is going to be another one of those rich clubs, maybe the top 7. But the difference is going to be how well are those clubs run. Man City is a well-run club, and this is
like Everton. They got new money and they spent poorly, and then they have all these players with super high wages.
Yeah, and they can't.
And then they can't sign anyone new because they can't get anyone off their books.
It's poor management. Yeah.
And so that's why Newcastle will be really interesting to see how they manage, most importantly, their wage bill, and see if they can get players that are kind of like not top talents, but right in like the sweet spot where they, if they're a bust, it's not a big deal. And that's almost the bigger thing when you're trying to transform a team.
Right.
I guess that's different. Well, no, that's not fully different than City, because they didn't buy, up until Grealish, they weren't buying like crazy players. It was kind of players that were just like about to make their break or had like one good season or something like that. And Pep saw that he could do something with that.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference. I think it's like how money management.
I also want to say that the difference between the Premier League and other leagues is the fact that it's the most watched and has the most money in it is going to keep it competitive. And why I think that is because we don't watch like Wolfsburg Dortmund to
or
the
Eredivisie.
or just like no, even like Sevilla. I don't watch Sevilla that much, and these are like I watch a lot of West Ham. I watch a lot of Everton. I watch a lot of Aston Villa. Why do we watch that? Because the market in America is and elsewhere is very high for the Premier League. So owners are just like teams like Newcastle. Newcastle's being bought. These very rich people aren't going out and buying Wolfsburg. They're looking into the Premier League because that's where the market is. And these other leagues are just going to become one league teams. Mostly the fact that we're only going to watch those teams in the Champions League.
Yeah.
You know, like the Premier League is becoming the league you watch, and the Champions League and other leagues maybe. You know, I feel like there's more value to buy a 15th place team in the Premier League than a second place team in France.
Yeah, and I think also like you think about like the viewership, like we're obviously pretty big into the sport and we watch a lot of it, and we're barely like don't think I've watched one League One game this whole year.
Right.
Even, I mean, I guess I watched Messi when it first came on, but other than that, I haven't looked at it. And I'm a pretty big soccer viewer. So think about just like a casual viewer. They're not gonna
turn that on. Yeah.
Even.
Well, the Champions League argument is interesting because City have spent all this money and haven't won a Champions League.
Yeah.
Same thing with PSG. They win the league every year, except like I guess last year when Lille won it, which is embarrassing for them. But they also haven't won the Champions League, and I guess both of them have gotten to the final and lost. But that's like their main goal as a club, and they haven't done it. And I guess that kind of proves that like the money isn't everything, you know. But I think looking at like some of their transfers, they're not doing what Bayern and Juve are doing. They're not poaching these players from other top clubs. So like Bayern, they take their players from Leipzig and Dortmund, and then they're on Bayern the next year. Juve, same thing, like Chiesa or Locatelli.
City does that too. They got Grealish, they got Mahrez.
Yeah, but from Villa, they're not coming from like United, Chelsea, Liverpool.
That's true.
They're coming from like more mid-table teams.
Yeah, and that's because like
but also
Chelsea and Man United, and they have enough financial power to reject those deals and say no, we're not going to sell our players, but they're not in bad situations.
Yeah, and it's interesting because so for Bayern, when they go get players from Dortmund and Leipzig, I think we had this discussion before, like those teams can say no to Bayern.
Mhm.
And I'm not sure why they don't do that, because as Bayern, like of course they're going to go out and try to get the best players, especially in their own league. And Juve does the same thing in their league. I think the Prem teams get a lot of talented players from overseas too. Like Diaz overseas, Laporte overseas, Bernardo Silva overseas, like Gundogan and De Bruyne were both in the German league, and they've panned out so well for City. And City also doesn't I don't think they really overspend aside from the Grealish thing. Like 100 mil is a lot, but for a lot of these players, they're right around like the 50 mil mark. And then you look at
That all seems very sensible.
like United
Yeah,
spends
very
like
sensible.
50 mil on like Matic and Fred, and then
That's crazy.
And then they're like Sancho and Lukaku when he was there, like 75 mil, and he was there for like 2 years.
Yeah. No, I mean honestly, like that's
Maguire 80 mil.
That's a whole separate conversation. Is like, do these big money signings work out? Because I feel like I really think we don't have to get into that right now. But I think that is the noteworthy thing, is that City does spend a little bit more wisely, or at least on paper it looks like it.
Yeah.
And they have Pep.
Yeah.
Which was probably the bigger thing, honestly. He's the one calling out the players he wants.
Well, shouldn't all coaches have that power, right? I mean, if you're investing in a coach, if Tuchel is at the team for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, but he's not going to be. Well, and that's just a Chelsea thing. They're not going to.
Yeah.
But is that a flaw, though?
Yes, that's why Chelsea. I mean,
It's a
hard
different strategy.
Yeah.
We haven't won the Premier League in 5 years now.
Yeah.
And it's hard to. Champions League titles are hard to say that's Chelsea won the Champions League. It was great. It was wonderful. We beat Porto, a weak Real Madrid side, and we outplayed Atletico, and we beat Man City. We outplayed them. We were playing well, but also Pep overthink it.
And also like a one-off game. That can happen.
It's a tournament style game, and a tournament style inherently isn't as strong of an indicator. Are you a quality side for the entire season? The Premier League is literally a perfect. You play one game at home, one game away, and you play every single. It's a perfect system to prove, are you the best team in this 20 league system?
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's honestly I think it's sometimes more valuable to win the Premier League over than a Champions League. I think that's more impressive over a long season. You proven you're the best team in the best league versus the Champions League. It's a tournament style, so you don't play some teams. Like, what if we came up against Bayern in the first leg of one of those Champions League tournaments? We might have. We might have won.
That's why it's more valued, is because it's so difficult to win. So
he's saying it's not. He's saying that
I'm saying there's a lot more luck.
Difficult.
There's a lot more just variation in game to game, and it takes 7 games, like 3 once you reach the round of 16. There's 2 legs, and then the final 7 games to win the championship versus 38 games of consistent battles. And it's exciting. I love tournament style, but if you're trying to prove that you are a dominant team, Man City has been the best team in the world for the last 5 years, even though they haven't won a Champions League, because they've consistently won the Premier League and just dominated.
That's true, but I think tournaments. What's so great about tournament style is because I think it's more difficult to win tournament things, because you play 1 or sometimes 2 legs, and if you don't perform over those 2 legs or the 1 game, then you're out. And a lot of times you might lose to a worse team, but I think that's they just have not shown up in certain games. I think they got knocked out by Lyon or whatever that 1 year, 2 years ago, and they're a better team than Lyon, but. That's why I think the tournament style is what makes it so fun.
What I think what you said just like was kind of his point because
Yeah.
they are a better team.
Yeah, but I'm
And
still saying the Champions
think
League
it's-
is more difficult to win.
No, I think it's just like a different like
It's
I don't know. It's like it's a different tournament. But I think the question isn't like maybe what is more difficult to win, but maybe the question is which is a better indicator of like the best team.
Yeah.
Let's say
And
the Champions League. Let's say there's a Super League of Champions League teams. You know, there's the 32 teams, and they have to play each other for every single one away, one home. I think Man City wins that if it's like a Super League of the best 16 teams, I think they win. You know,
Right.
And I think
Are you saying we should do a Super League?
Thomas is canceled. Thomas is canceled.
Not canceled. But I'm saying that the Champions League is very fun.
Mhm.
Like March Madness is fun. The
Right.
number one seeds can get knocked out. There's a lot of upsets, and that's what happens when you break down, when you decide a winner on very few games. A lot of crazy things can happen, and that's fun. But that doesn't prove that a team is better than a team. What proves that Man City is better than every team in Europe right now is the fact they're consistently. I guess you can't prove it. All right, I guess you can't prove it without a Super League.
I do agree with what you're saying though.
Yeah.
Like it is obvious. Like if Manchester City played blank team 100 times, City is probably going to win majority of them, right?
Mhm.
And that's basically what the Premier League or any league is simulating.
Yeah.
But the tournament style, like I said, like sometimes like something happens during the game and the better team might not win.
Yeah.
Yeah,
which,
well, I guess-
which means it's harder. It's harder to
I don't-
win.
I mean,
No, it just
like,
means.
I don't know. I think we're going back and forth. I think like one thing that is like from a different angle is I think Chelsea has a better chance of winning the Champions League over the next 2 years than they do of winning the Premier League
Yeah.
because there is like you can get lucky.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
like other than Leicester, who won like on a fluke, you know, and obviously the Premier League was a little bit down that year, but there's more like upsets. Think of like Ajax going super far or like Monaco going super far. There's more like Cinderella stories similar to March Madness or something like that. Not that Chelsea was a Cinderella story, but they had an easier avenue. They got lucky with their draws and had easier matchups to get, you know, they go to the next round and they're playing Porto and someone else is playing Bayern. That they're getting the same distance as someone else playing a much worse team.
Yeah,
And
but
so, like I understand what you're saying is that like
It's hard for Man City to win the Champions League. It's easier for Chelsea to win it.
Right.
It's an equalizer. The fact that there's very few games.
Right.
It's kind of an equalizer, and like it doesn't mean Sheriff's going to win the Champions League. It's just like it equalizes because it's just a small sample size.
So
Right, yeah.
so I think
yes.
it can be like I don't think, regardless of like the difficulty of getting each one, I think what Thomas or like what I agree with what you're saying is that I think the fact that City has been winning the Premier League at their rate shows that they are the best team.
yes, agreed.
I feel
I
like
agree
that's
with
like
that. Yeah.
And Super League. I'm kind of honestly, we're like.
Are you pro
because-
Super League?
Well, like not really because of how it was introduced was a dumb idea. It was like very like just
It wasn't
locking
fun,
teams
yeah.
in was not a meritocracy. You can't like leave the Super League. That was a terrible idea. But like, how do we prove Man City is better than Bayern? If
I mean it's tough.
it's tough, and with the Champions League being a format that has a lot of variance, what you need to prove that is a league where you just like you have to that's a round robin style instead of a tournament style, and that's gonna actually like have a higher chance of proving which team is better. And like I don't really want that. Like, do you want to watch a World Cup that's a
Well, actually, I mean,
40 game like round robin? No, it's fun to have the tournaments.
didn't they propose that for the new Champions League?
Would that every team plays every team or something like
Yeah,
that?
there's something like that. Like I feel like maybe we're not well informed on this enough, but they're like last summer or whenever it was when they released the Champions League. Like shortly after they also released shortly after they released the Super League news, they also released the new Champions League stuff, and it was similar to that. It was like you play like every team once, and it was like more Champions League games. I don't know if it was like went through or not, or if it was just proposed, but there was like some like restructuring of it, and they also did away with away goals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna look that up because there is a new Champions League format that's gonna come out.
Maybe more teams.
They're adding 4 more teams, and people are a little pissed off because it's based on like
It just
couple
means,
of teams that have an automatic spot are based off like the UEFA coefficient. So let's say Juventus had a terrible year like they're having, they still might have a chance of making it to the Champions League because they're just like a good team.
bigger
So there's
team,
extra
that's-
extra
Mhm.
spots.
Arsenal's
People
like always gonna
dislike
get
it.
like
It's
Tottenham
not-
or something.
Yeah.
Do you want to look at this?
Well, I'm give me a sec. We can move on. Like,
Well,
that was kind of a tangent.
I do like the whole like tournament versus like league style because I think they're like implementing like a league style for like international games. You know, like UEFA Nations League
Yeah.
or something versus like having a tournament or like a Euro stuff. I also
And I
think
I mean, I'll speak as Jurgen Klopp. It just means more games for the players that
yes.
already have too many games.
exactly. Yeah.
All right. Well, Tom, maybe you can look at that. We can talk about that at the end or next episode. But I think we should get to a little bit of Chelsea-Bayern stuff.
yeah.
Get back to our roots. Chelsea played Brighton yesterday and got another 1-1 draw for the second time in 2 months against them.
Whew.
Tommy, what is going on?
Oh my god.
Tom, I heard you have a lot to say.
Dude, I was so frustrated watching that game. I was like, why? Like, it's just like, it's tough. It's so, they have all the right pieces. They just can't put it together.
Yeah, I sometimes have like trouble watching like Chelsea though. Just like it's sometimes like even the games that they win and they score a lot, it's still like frustrating to watch. Even when Ziyech scored that goal, he like didn't sell. He was like frustrated as hell.
He had a terrible game.
He was like
awful.
like
other
he's like
than
I just
that shot.
scored. I just scored. We're up 1-0 in a big game. Like he didn't like care. It wasn't.
Well,
celebrating
but I
anything.
think, I mean, like, I feel like that was just like a media storm that was unnecessary because I feel like he knows that he has not been playing very well, so he's not going to go out of his mind celebrating a goal against Brighton, which they should win.
Yeah,
I feel like it's he knows he's not. I don't think it's deeper than that. I think he knows that he hasn't been playing well. He's not.
Yeah.
He knows he needs to do better. So he.
Yeah, but that's like the whole team. I feel like that's like just like frustration with the team, and that's like what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Yeah, and I'm not saying like he should be celebrating or something, but like it's evident in the team that there's like a bunch of
that's fair.
frustration.
Yeah.
You know?
No, they know they should be playing better.
Yeah.
I think that was like a key moment to understand like what's happening is players are not they're not developing at Chelsea. They're not developing into star players, especially our attackers. I think Tuchel came in and he fixed our defense and we stopped conceding goals. Remember?
Except for the last 11 games, one clean sheet.
Yeah,
in the
that's
last
true.
11
That's
games.
true. When we'll talk about that.
Damn,
When-
Tommy.
I just got put on fire. All right, Lampard. We scored goals under Lampard, and we scored about the same as Tuchel actually, but we're conceding like crazy. It was like every set piece we would concede. Tuchel came in, brought solidity, brought what seemed like a plan. It was like a plan, and the plan just seems to be falling apart right now because he's shifting formation. That's one of the biggest reasons we look terrible again on that Brighton game. We're playing this 4-2-2-2, which I hate right now. It's just like because we do not have we're not playing our attacking mids in the attacking mids. We're not playing strikers in the striking positions. We're playing players out of position constantly, especially our attackers. We're playing Hudson-Odoi as kind of a second striker to Lukaku. We're playing Ziyech as a right attacking mid. That's not where they thrive. Why aren't we playing with that same team? Why couldn't we play a 4-2-3-1? 4-2-3-1 with Mount as a cam, Hudson-Odoi and Ziyech as the wingers, and Lukaku up top, and two holding midfielders.
Right.
Kante can come up. That makes so much sense. And instead, we're just like Tuchel hasn't found the right positions for our attackers. I looked. I think Pulisic is a perfect example. Under Lampard, he was playing under Lampard and at Dortmund, he was playing right wing mostly, left wing, and attacking mid sometimes. But he was playing as a winger. Under Tuchel, he's playing right wing back. He's playing striker. He's played under Tuchel. 21% of his minutes were at right wing back, 35% of his minutes at striker, and only 30% of his minutes are either at the floating 10 role, which also isn't his role, or like a winger.
Yeah.
So he's not playing his natural position. And when Hudson-Odoi plays his natural position of left wing in a formation that like is a winger formation, he's great.
Yeah, he's incredible.
Yeah.
He cuts in, he scores goals
Yeah.
every time he plays in that position. I feel like he does well.
Or gets an assist.
Yeah.
I think Chelsea's problems have been brewing in the background for a while, and now they're kind of coming through. And I think to a certain extent, I think the media is kind of fueling the fire. I feel like a lot of people, and whether it's just media or just like social media, which I don't think helps any of the players' confidence or anything like that, or helps the situation.
Yeah.
So I think some of the stuff has been brewing for a while and is just kind of behind the scenes. I think if we talk about how Tuchel implemented his defense as his plan, well, this season starting in, end of September, early October, all these like murmurs about contracts and stuff like that with all these defenders made kind of all of this whatever background noise, and slowly the defense fell apart, and now Christensen looks like he's going to leave. Rudiger looks like he's going to leave. Azpilicueta looks like he's going to leave. So what is that? That doesn't help anyone. Yeah. That doesn't help anyone to continue forward. And so now our defense is shot, And then even if we concede a goal, our problem a lot of times is that we can't score goals. And so I think, that's kind of like all this background noise. Then Lukaku has this interview or whatever. So I think there's like kind of a lot of stuff behind the scenes. But at the end of the day, Tommy, I kind of agree with you. I think Tuchel has talked about in his interviews recently how he's very frustrated that none of his attackers are consistent in scoring goals. And I'm kind of like, I want Tuchel to stay. I don't think that's a conversation, whether he should be fired or whatever like that. I want Tuchel to stay, but I'm also like, dude, you talk about how none of your attackers can score consistently. None of them play consistently.
Yeah.
Like, no one has had like a long stretch of games.
Yeah.
Other than I think the Kai Havertz at striker.
Yeah.
When Lukaku and Timo were hurt, and that was our best stretch of games, probably.
Yeah.
Was when Kai was consistently starting striker, and we had like a couple wingers on the side.
Yeah.
Or floating tens. We were consistently playing the same formation with a linchpin at top, and that doesn't mean play Kai out every time. That just means Lukaku can be that guy, but play him consistently and play a consistent formation, and don't confuse the roles constantly.
I think like another attacker that the same thing. I think Pulisic had a stretch where he started like 9 games in a row or something like that, which for him is pretty long. But also he was playing in all these different positions, like you were just saying. So I think like he just needs to like get like a group and just like let him play. And if he knows he's going to sell Ziyech at the end of the season, play Ziyech as like a super sub. He's obviously a quality player, but if you don't see him in the long-term future, then don't make him an integral part of the system.
I agree.
I feel like that's like, it's obviously easier said than done. We have a big game against Tottenham this weekend, so hopefully that goes okay. Or we need a win. We need to beat Tottenham for the league standings. But yeah, I feel like it just has to be consistent, and I feel like they need to sort out this like kind of back of house stuff with the contracts and whatnot. And if that means players are leaving, that's fine, but make that decision. Like, stop having all this like floating stuff. Say to Christensen, like, if you're gonna leave, just like let us know so you can do that on your own, and like that is a done deal, and we can like move on.
I think it helps both the player and the club if like there's like some like communication, and then it's just transparent and it's out there. Bayern's having the same problems kind of with Sule. Like, they offered him a contract. It's up to him if he's going to take it or not. But he's not playing, and he'll play sometimes when there's injuries and stuff, but like if he's not committed to Bayern for the future, he's not really an integral part of the team, which I think is how it should be, because why would they play someone if they're not sure he's going to be part of like Bayern's long-term future? Right. So they're going to play players that have current contracts, like Hernandez or Upamecano, and they're gonna play them so that like they can get chemistry going. They can like get a certain team because Bayern will change up their squad sometimes if like there's a player that's like hurt or something, but for the most part it's the same squad and same formation every single game. And I think that helps because then you know like each other's game and you know exactly like your tendencies of your teammates, like where they're gonna be, like what they like to do. And like I think sometimes Chelsea's players are so great individually and like no one's like gonna question that, but sometimes there's like a disconnect of like just chemistry, I think.
I mean, I think that's a great point. We can kind of involve our Bayern conversation at this point, but literally on my paper I just have Bayern business as usual. Like they play the same, and it's like kind of for us it's like okay, boring to watch. Or I was on Twitter like finally a game when they played Gladbach that like was a little up in the air. That was a little bit of a fluke, but I get like sometimes bored watching Bayern because I'm like, okay, I know they're gonna win. I know who the starting lineup's gonna be.
Yeah.
Like what is up to chance, and although sometimes as a viewer that's less exciting for me, who's like not, I don't have Bayern at my heart or whatever. I'm not like I want to see a more exciting game, but for Bayern that's great. They know they're gonna win 95% of the games they play every week.
Yeah.
Chelsea goes into a game with a new starting lineup. They have to make these new like whatever relationships on the field with what's going on. Players are playing out of position. They have to get comfortable. And then they have this huge like media storm behind them. That's not like putting your best foot forward, you know?
No. Not at all.
Well,
No.
what do you want?
goodness.
Do you want Lukaku to start this weekend, or like what? Do you guys have like an
good.
opinion on
Well,
like, how he is right now?
But like, whatever. What's it called? Allegory? I don't know. Like some comparing it to Bayern.
What was that just now telling?
That was not a word.
Like Coman is a world class player, but he's a substitute, and he's a substitute because Sane and Gnabry are better. Why can't Chelsea find their 3 best attackers and play them, and the rest are substitutes? And the reason why is because they all came in expecting to be starters. We didn't have a plan. We don't have a set. We didn't like Lukaku came in to be a starter. What happened to Kai and Timo? Kai and Timo came in to be starters. Like no one's coming in to be like compare that to Bayern or City. City buys a player to rotate in, and you have to earn your spot. But they already have a set team, and like Chelsea's bringing in multiple attackers at a time. Like when Timo and Kai came in, we're bringing in multiple attackers at a time that don't have set positions within our formation, and we're just like we have to figure out how to put 6 starting attackers in a lineup when we should have 3 and 3 subs.
I also have written down, do we just have too many attackers?
Yeah.
And I think that's, I think
set
that's,
roles is what we need.
I think that is part of it. And that's why I am kind of for offloading some of these players. And not because I don't think they're good, and not that I don't think they deserve to be at Chelsea, but if Chelsea is trying to create like a best 11 and win and be consistent and win over like a long period of time, i.e. City, they need to have a little bit more consistency. And City isn't really the best example of that because they do switch up their lineup a bit, but it seems like everyone knows their place more. They're playing, it's like the same like type of player or whatever. You know, Chelsea has like a lot of like different, like Kai Havertz, Ziyech, and Pulisic are all such different players that it's hard to have a system where they all can fill in for each other, you know.
Right.
I think Liverpool's a good example, and they play
I was about to say that,
Mane, Jota, Salah
every game.
90% of the games.
Yeah.
And they have such good chemistry together. Mo Salah is the best player in the Premier League because he has obviously he's individually great, but also he knows where these other players are going to be. He gets these balls from Mane. He plays a beautiful assist to Jota. Like, it's a system, and obviously, you know, some teams can pull off not having such a strict system like Pep, but not many teams are like Man City or Pep Guardiola.
Yeah, I think sometimes like Liverpool does this where they have a team and they're looking to replace like maybe one player, or they're looking to like have a backup for like a couple players.
Yeah,
and
Jota was bought as a backup for Firmino.
Yeah, and now he's starting, I guess, but
Is he starting over Firmino?
He starts every game.
He's incredible.
Firmino's probably had like 3 or 4 starts this whole season.
Jota plays like his FIFA tournaments, like pro FIFA tournament games, and then he goes like 2 hours later and plays real soccer.
Crazy.
But yeah, I think Chelsea had like a lot of new players come in all at once too, and I wasn't sure like Kai and Timo came after Tuchel, right?
No, before. They came with Lampard's second year. Well, yeah, that's the same thing. We're talking about like club takeovers almost. We can kind of think about what happened on Lampard's second season as kind of a club takeover with 5 new players or whatever. Think about PSG. They had all these players come in, didn't really work out.
Yeah.
And I think we are very like selfish or not selfish or
spoiled.
Spoiled.
Yeah,
because Chelsea won the Champions League.
Yeah.
Like,
and we're
we won the Champions
League.
It worked. It worked. We're in a very special spot because we can be so nitpicky and be obviously so outwardly frustrated.
Yeah,
because they can be so much better.
Yeah, even though we won the Champions League, we are like miles behind City and Liverpool. Like, I think Liverpool are getting a little unlucky this year. If you look at like the expected goal differential, like they're just getting unlucky with like draws compared to, and they're at a similar level in terms of dominance against teams as Man City, and Chelsea's dropping off. And I feel like we won the Champions League, but I think that blinded people to how bad we kind of are.
We finished in 4th.
Great. Yeah, finished in 4th, and we've consistently we're not competing with the title. We haven't competed for the title since Conte.
Yeah, and you think like all these games kind of down to the wire. Even if we do, like think about that Brentford game where we won 1-0. I think that was like, Mendy had to be spectacular for us to get by.
Yeah.
There were so many 1-0 games that Tuchel had and whatnot. But I think the reason why it's exciting to watch, it's frustrating, but it's also exciting, is because we're not just there, but we're close.
Mm-hmm. We have
the potential. We have the best players. Like, it can be put together properly. So, I think, whatever. I'm still hopeful. I still think if we
optimists.
Who are you guys? I know you talked about like possibly offloading some players. Who was like? You mentioned, I think, Timo in like a past episode. Like,
I think Timo and Ziyech are easy. I think both of them. Like,
maybe Pulisic, as much as we love him because we're Americans.
I think
consistent.
I think either. No, I don't. I think Hudson-Odoi.
Really?
Before Pulisic. I think Pulisic is much more consistent than Hudson-Odoi is. And you think Pulisic scores more goals than Callum does.
That's true. Callum.
He has more like goal output than Odoi does. And so I think if you can get a big fee for him, take it, because if you think Chelsea are going to put Conor Gallagher into the team next year. Mm-hmm. So if you get rid of Hudson-Odoi, Ziyech, and Timo Werner, and you just put in Conor Gallagher, that's a lot more like consistency there.
Bayern has been trying to get Hudson-Odoi for so long.
Yeah, but now Chelsea can probably get him for maybe 40 million.
Yeah. And Coleman just signed a new contract, so
yeah. And I think Chelsea, what they should do is buy someone like Tchouaméni. They can buy. He can be a backup for N'Golo Kante, and then have Kante there for 1 more year, sell Kante, and then you had Tchouaméni there.
Yeah.
I think they've talked about signing Ousmane Dembele today. I think
Xavi gave him an ultimatum.
It's like I think like Dembele could be signed tomorrow. Like, that's like a serious thing. But what does that solve? That solves Tuchel, because Tuchel likes Dembele when they played together at Dortmund. That's just for like not trying to be disrespectful to Dembele, but that's just like another attacker in the system. Like another person competing for spots, another person who has to be integrated into the team and form these relationships and stuff. I don't think that's I don't think the solution is not adding more players. It's doing more with what we have.
The Tuchel Dembele connection's interesting, but like
he's not making that connection with Pulisic.
With Pulisic, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, I thought Pulisic was gonna like be maybe a starter, like a regular, because he played so well under Tuchel at Dortmund, and then he had some injury stuff, of course, but like he's not a starter, not playing as much as I thought he would be playing.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Well,
can we wrap this up, because I'm really hungry?
No, I was gonna say, I want one thing. Let's wrap it up nicely.
I started thinking about Chipotle, and I kind of zoned out.
Oh my god, I want Chipotle too. Sponsored by Chipotle.
No, what I wanted to say is this has been like we've kind of been going on little rants this whole episode. So I wanted to end it with the fact that Lewandowski won the UEFA Best Award, which yes, shout out
Let's
King
go.
Lewa. And I think, whatever, it's not, people don't regard it as highly as the Ballon d'Or or whatever. But if we think about how the Ballon d'Or went this year, I don't think it went very well. So maybe this trophy is just as good.
Hey,
and even though the World FIFA 11 was terrible and did not make any sense,
It made no sense.
Lewandowski was the best, and so far that's been the only
Yeah.
good award that's
Fans
come out
have the
this year.
power to give, like, what's it called, credibility to certain awards. Let's give it to this award.
Yeah.
For giving
Yeah.
it to Lewa.
We-
Like,
We
well done,
choose
well done.
this
Yeah, actually,
award
we choose it.
to
We
celebrate.
endorse the, what's it called? the FIFA Player
The
of the Year.
best. It's
Yeah,
called
FIFA,
the
yeah,
best.
the best.
We
FIFA
endorse
Player
it.
of the Year.
It's
But only-
off to
only
good-
this
only,
trophy,
only
not
that,
the-
not the 11. The 11 was rough.
Well, the 11 didn't make sense. I mean, this is like quick, but like Donnarumma at goalie, and then they put Mendy as best goalkeeper.
Exactly. So this is the only trophy.
It made no sense.
This is the
Yeah.
only trophy we're focusing on. It's
Oh,
just
and the
best.
TikTok best player. I think Leva won that too. TikTok best player.
Okay,
award.
we're gonna be looking for the future. For now we're endorsing the TikTok and
yeah, and FIFA's best. Yeah.
Yes.
ones to look out for as replacements for the Ballon d'Or.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Soon.
Ballon d'Or's over.
Yeah, 6 Ballon d'Ors. What does that even mean?
Yeah.
Come on.
I don't know what that is.
Exactly.
Ballon
what?
Oh, what? Yeah. All right. Well, that does it.
It's good.
Hard stop. We're done.
Hard stop. Wait.
Yeah.
Hard stop.
Peace out.
Clap.
Hard stop?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm a,
Oh,
actually.
shit.
Wait, Tom.